roles tweaked there a little bit, and what that means and how that benefits the offense and the quarterbacks?
I think more than anything, I think it was just something where at times, Coach Wilcox talked to us in the off season and just said he felt like something wasn't what it needed to be. Something might have been a little off, and it doesn't mean that it was any one of us. In terms of that, it was just as a group. And really, at the end of the day, what happens is if you're calling the plays and you're coaching the guy that catches the snap, there's sometimes there becomes a little bit more of a connection. That's at the end of the day what ends up happening, in that position. And I know, and we talked about it as a staff, and we're going forward.
Is it a little unusual for a coordinator not to be in the quarterback's room constantly anyway?
It depends, yeah. But I would say more often than not, if you look around the country, yeah, you're going to see, a higher percentage it is. I haven't looked at every, there's levels of both, don't get me wrong, but I was spending the time last 2 years in running backs first year and tight ends last year.
What do you think the benefits to you will be being in that quarterback room every day?
Just more than anything, it doesn't make anything I'm doing better than Coach Tui or better than anybody else in the country for that matter. It just means that I'm calling the plays and talking to the guy catching the snap. That's the easiest way to say it, so it'd be no different no matter who was calling the plays. Coach Wilcox felt like it made more sense they were coaching quarterbacks.
It still is super early, but what have you kind of seen from the guys in the quarterbacks room so far?
Basically that they've shown great retention, and really I'm speaking of Garbers with that because he's the one guy coming back with experience. Robbie spent a lot of time on scout, but he's shown some things too from where he was in fall. But Chase has shown great retention. Devon has shown a great ability to pick it up quick. I mean, you can tell that he's been seasoned and coached, and so things like those things show up with Devon, and then Jack is working to get better every day, and he's probably the least familiar, so to speak, because he's the newest here, and and Devon had a history in this conference, and also Coach Tui coaching him, so there's some carryover there, but Jack's coming along every day too, so I'm excited about the group.
Do you expect the competition to go through the spring into the fall? What do you anticipate?
Honestly, I couldn't have told you what last year at this time, so it's just we got to play it day by day. It could, or it could present itself by the end of spring to be very one-sided. It really could. You just got to let the spring play out. But even if it becomes something where we want to air quote name somebody at the end of spring, there's still a lot of time. There's still 2/3 of your practice before game one, in terms of that. So you got to be careful in thinking, that's the end all be all. It never is.
Sounds like you're not in a rush to get an answer on this.
No, there is no, because at the end of the day, you want to get enough data and enough competition, to again put the best product on the field game one.
What do you see from the running back group? Anything?
Good diversity, just in terms of different things they can do. There's a good mix of, just explosion, speed, power, catching the ball in the backfield. There's a lot of different things they give us. So that's going to be a great competitive room as well, like a lot of these rooms are, but I'm excited. Just about, just in 2 days, what I'm seeing from them as a whole group. Not to pinpoint one per se, but just say as a group, you're seeing a lot of different things they can do.
Talked a lot about McAllen Castles last fall as he was developing. He ended up redshirting, but now you guys are throwing him out there a lot more. What have you seen from him in the early going here?
Just really athletic, and you saw that even at the end of second half of last year. He was getting a lot of his reps in scout team, but you'd go back and watch the scout film and see him doing good things against our defense. And then you saw it at the end of the year. We started using him, with that 4-game rule, and now you're seeing that again that carryover of understanding the offense as a whole rather than the little package plays we'd put him in on, and then just continuing to develop as an every down player. That's the toughest challenge. He's an incredible athlete. He's going to have a huge upside, but he wants to, and he's hungry to do it. He wants to develop as that every down player that you can count on to block the C gap in the run game.
Can you use him split out
handle
at all?
that. Absolutely. Have to. that's what he did too, coming out, and he's a basketball guy. I mean, he's got a lot of athletic ability, so he definitely is comfortable out there. But that's almost the area that comes more natural to him, and it's the area within those tackles where he has to keep working.
And plus, you sort of need that right now too, right? Because you don't have a great amount of depth outside.
No question, no question. You have to be able to definitely stay in some 11 personnel, definitely get into some 12 personnel, and still use that in open formations.
The two new quarterbacks, how do you decide how much to install from day to day? Is that kind of a read thing to see what they're picking up, what they're getting, or do you have a set plan for how much you're going to go with?
Yeah, I mean, we're installing it with the mindset like we would a veteran quarterback, and those guys have to do the extra work to pick it up. Now if it was a game and I didn't feel like I would try not to put too much on them.
Sure, yep.
But right now it doesn't hurt them to be force fed and to and have to deal with that and have to find extra time to understand it and learn it, because you don't want the rest of the team to suffer because you're trying to bring along. They have to get up to speed, and they're doing it. That I haven't really even noticed that to this point. I mean, there's some levels where you have to, certain things you're teaching, but we were doing that every year, no matter where you're at.
What kind of is the scouting report on the two incoming quarterbacks? Are they different at all? What do you see?
They're a little bit different. I mean, Devon, throws a really, he throws a tight football. He understands things. He picks up things quick. He's very accurate on certain throws. And you saw that. I mean, he played really well against us, and I told him that. I remember, not knowing anything about what the future would, but I just remember that in the second half of that game in 17, what he did, and he had a temperament about him that was calm in chaotic situations. So I just really appreciate that, and he's a smooth athlete. He's not necessarily going to explode for some, monster run, but he's a smooth athlete, moving and understands things and sees things really well in terms of that. Jack's just, Jack's got a live arm and does some good things, and is really, I would label him right now as he's a playmaker, and that's what you saw on film, and that excites me because, I mean, there's certain levels of still rawness that he can work, on in terms of footwork, technique, and just everything else that can come with that.
You mentioned Devon and playing against you guys. Have you? Has he apologized, raised his hand, said "my bad" to anyone?
He's confident yet humble, so he doesn't do that. Seriously, I mean, he's got a confidence. He's got that perfect level of confidence and belief in what he's doing, but he's humble. So
there weren't guys avoiding him.
He
in
might
the lunchroom a little bit.
Who knows? At home on the Wii at night or something, he might be throwing some. But no, he hasn't said anything to me. I just told him I complimented him because that was well before any of this came about. I respected what he did in the second half of that game, and then I told him I watched him later in the bowl game because I was curious to see how it goes. So it's just ironic how it all works out.
It seemed like at every segment last year with Chase, we saw a bump. Do you see another jump from him from the bowl game to now?
Absolutely. You almost see it too, and it's just his physique and his body. I feel like he looks stronger in the pocket, looks stronger with what he's doing things. And again, like anything, I mean, first-year player, it's hard, and so for him, you're going to see that natural, progression to that second year, and you can already kind of see it. And as he talks through things, even when he makes a mistake, he knows he can correct it quick on his own, and he understands that. So that's been fun to see in these first 2 days.
How confident are you in that position on your team generally? I mean, there's the old line that if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Yeah.
But you've got two at least. How do you see it evolving, and do you think you'll be in good hands at that position this season?
I do. I mean, I feel extremely confident with that, and I think that's sometimes a phrase that is just used. It's not really always the truth. I mean, Alabama had two QBs, so it's like, it's one of them, and I get it. They were doing what they were doing, but my point is with that, when you have, quality depth at a position, whether it's quarterback or any other position, it creates competition, and that's what I believe we have. So we're going to create great competition with quality depth. It's not a matter of searching, it's a matter of letting these guys compete. And having the cream rise to the top. So I'm very confident. I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to meet this afternoon, go over today's practice, and then keep working towards progressing into the next one.
Brandon seemed genuinely excited Monday about his slash role. Does that excite you too? Kind of some of the interesting things you could do with him in that role?
Absolutely. And you just gotta. I think he's still a guy that you you need to take advantage of. You need to take advantage of the skill set. Go back and put on our film of explosive plays, you know, whatever those are. He's in a high number of them with a low number of reps. So his percentage of explosive plays, you know, compared to how many carries, let's say, is pretty high. So that tells you right there that you have to find ways to utilize him and find ways to still make him a part of your offense, because he's that explosive, you know. So it's just one of those things where I'm not worried too much about it in the spring as much as, you know, next, you know, fall camp, and really where that fits within what we're doing.
As a guy who likes to tinker with plays in your office, is it fun to have someone like that you know he's not going to be your regular quarterback, but you can do a lot of different stuff with him?
Yeah, it is. It's a blast.
I mean, you sit
It
there
absolutely
and
is.
draw up plays where we could use him here.
Yeah, no question. I mean, you saw it. I mean, I know he went through a string of games where it was, you know, it got uncomfortable and things didn't go well. But for a while up until that point, you talk about 6 quarters. The Oregon game out here, with the exception kind of the late turnover, I mean, he's exploding for a touchdown. He's running the ball for 100 yards on him, or whatever that was. Even the first half of Arizona, he had 2 touchdowns himself. So you see those things in that explosion. It's just a matter of, again, utilizing those moments and cutting out, you know, the negative moments.
And finding some,
you know,
creative ways to use them.
Exactly. And, you know, that's one of the toughest things for a defense to defend is an empty package. So you got to defend the entire field with a run threat. I mean, that's hard. It's just a numbers game. And at the end of the day, you don't have the numbers to do it all to the level you want as a defense. And that's why he was so effective in some of those packages and doing what he was doing in that quarterback position.
You touched a little bit on the rough stretch that he had, but when you see him out here yesterday, he's all smiles, so excited to just, as he says, help the team in any way he can. What's it like having that kind of personality on the team where he doesn't let things get him down, and he's still going to be just a fan of the team in general?
Yeah, I love his personality. I love his moxie. I love his energy. I do. I mean, he's just got that. He's got that competitive, and he loves competing and playing a game. That's why he's so excited going out and stealing bases like he's doing, and you know, came in, coach, I had single, double, triple. You know, he's excited to play. He is excited to get out and compete, you know, and to go through those things. So that type of energy, whatever energy you decide to bring out here, that's going to be contagious. So you decide what you want to spread, you know, and that's what he just has that way of bringing a great energy out, and it becomes contagious being around him. So enjoy it a lot.
We got to see Will last year on the line, and you brought in a highly regarded class with him. What are you seeing from that group kind of in their second year here?
Yeah, it's only 2 practices
right,
in,
yeah.
So it'll be fun to get the pads on, you know, and just see. But I'm excited about their body types, you know, and what, you know, how they're changing and how they're developing, and that's a compliment to Coach Beckton and his staff and what they do, you know. And you're going to even see with us going as early as we are in spring, you might even see with that group even a bigger jump, knowing that you have April, May, June, July, you know, because it's more on the front end. We're doing spring ball on the back end, that prep. So I'm excited to see what they do on the field, but I guarantee you by practice 15, whatever you see in that group, how they look is going to be different than August, you know, and that's also the exciting thing, to keep seeing what that progression will look like.
Jake Kern was bragging yesterday about how much work in the classroom Cendric does about in the playbook. Are you seeing some stuff from him that kind of trying to grasp everything that you guys are asking for in the offense?
Absolutely. I mean, he was doing that last year. You know, he was already pushing himself to do that, you know, in a redshirt year. So it's not going to be a lack of mental, you know, and that's a compliment to him, because he's not going to allow that to be the reason, you know, because that's the last thing you want is to be, you know, you're physically good enough to play, but, you know, you're not getting it playbook wise. He's going to close that. He's not going to let you use that. Won't be, because he's going to know his stuff. So then it's a matter, and he's showing great physical stuff. So being that the case, you're probably going to see the guy play a lot of football, you know, because he's doing the right things in terms of, you know, what he needs to do physically, and then he understands, you know, the concepts of playbook and can do it in a quick fashion. So that's a compliment to his work ethic, because everyone has the same opportunities to attack that stuff. They just decide.
Yep.
With the wide receiver position, you guys are utilizing a few guys who are walk-ons. What have you seen from the Ben Skinners and Ricky Walkers so far?
Yeah, they've both shown some good things. You know, I mean, you know, we saw Skinner a little bit last year, you know, playing, even Ricky a little bit, but he was, you know, fought the injury early on. But Ricky's already made a couple plays out here. Those 2 guys compete. They compete, and they want. And I have a lot of respect too, because like you said, that walk-on position, there's a lot asked of them. You know, a student athlete is asked a lot in terms of time in the weight room, time on the field, time, you know, whatever it might be, you know, the tutor sessions, all that stuff. So being a walk-on and seeing them out here competing and getting after it and knowing all the other things they're doing, you know, not on a scholarship, I have the utmost respect for guys like that. So I'm excited about their push and, you know, and what we're going to see out of the next 13 practices from both of those guys. All right.
Thank you.
Do you want a piece